guys. Sorry about any audio glitching in the background. Well, not glitching, just sound in it, technically. Considering I literally record in my room and I don't really have much of another room to, like, record in. And I either record, in the afternoon or in the morning when I get up. So but I'm recording like in the afternoon, so the rooms are being taken up, and at night I mostly stay in my room anyway, just to avoid going out into another room and making any really noise. So yeah, but like I said, sorry for any background noise, but yeah, that's kind of like all I have to really say now. So bye. Prove Them Wrong by Bubbly_Writer. Chapter 3. President Mike was asleep when they arrived the night prior. Aizawa took the time to introduce himself correctly to Izuku, and Izuku did the same before going to sleep. He felt safe with the tired hero. It was weird, but the fact that he was so straightforward made him feel like he wasn't forcing himself to do what he was doing. Izuku was sleeping on the couch for now, until they make space for him, for an actual room and bed. This was way more that he could ask for. He took a shower and he now had a pair of clean clothes. He felt better. Yes, he chose to go homeless, but it didn't mean he liked it. Izuku was still a joyful boy who enjoyed life. People around were simply playing with his self-esteem. Aizawa was furious on that part, because he didn't understand how someone could hurt the Viridian boy for something so stupid as a quirk. He learned that Midoriya wanted to be a hero. Maybe not in the front lines, but saving people was his goal. Aizawa was a teacher at UA, so he took a mental note to speak to Principal Nezu, especially after seeing the boy's notes. He found it terrifying how he had everyone's weakness written down, even his husband's. Aizawa has an erasing quirk, so it wasn't useful in combat. So he relied mostly on quirkless fighting and support items so he could help Izuku develop his fighting abilities. He didn't speak of it to the boy yet. He wanted to bring the boy to UA with him first. He had an idea in mind. He had to see if Izuku was comfortable with it first. Izuku woke up, startled by hearing yelling and panic. Aizawa soon joined, also startled by the commotion. And Mike was panicking since someone was on the couch. Hizashi, this is Midoriya Izuku. I brought him to stay with us, so will you shut up now? The half-asleep teacher says, with a scold, and his husband soon switches to a joyful mood. Hey there, I'm Hizashi Yamada. Sorry for yelling, it wasn't... just wasn't expecting it. The loud blonde apologizes, ashamed, which Izuku giggled. It's okay, I understand. He smiles, and the man's heart melts at how adorable the boy was. Shut up! We're keeping him! He's too adorable! He squeals, making the brunette blush and Aizawa sigh. I told you he was staying here already. Now go get ready. We have to go soon. Yamada goes and starts getting ready. Aizawa sits on the couch with Izuku. Like I told you yesterday, I'm a teacher at UA Hero course. Would you like to come with me for the day? I wanted you to observe the other students and maybe analyze them. I realized that you could maybe help them, especially with your talent at analyzing, if you're comfortable with it, of course. He explains to the Viridian boy, who had stars in his eyes. Good to UA. He gets to analyze people. And he just got told he had good analysis skills. It was enough to make the boy cry, which made the teacher panic. Of course! Thank you, Aizawa! This is amazing! He sobs with a huge smile, and Aizawa felt relieved to see that the boy was simply happy. Then there was quick footsteps coming in their direction. Sho! Why did you make him cry? Yamada asked, being almost ready to beat the shit out of his husband for making his new prodigy cry. It's happy tears, I think. Aizawa looks at the teen for confirmation and he nods. Okay then, you can make him cry more. Yamada says, going back to get ready, and Izuku laughs at how bad it could sound out of context. Then you can get ready. I cleaned your clothes so you can change. I hope it's okay. The boy nods, wiping his tears. Thank you. Izuku smiles, grateful for all the hero did for him. In less than 24 hours. Anytime, kid. He smirks, ruffling his messy green hair, and he goes to get ready himself. Izuku folds the blanket and puts it all on the end of the couch. He finds his clean clothes folded on the table, so he grabs it and goes to change in the bathroom. He brushes his teeth and tries to place his hair in a presentable way. He comes out of the bathroom after a few minutes and goes to the living room couch and grabs his plushie, playing with its ears, trying to pass time and calm down. He just met 2 pro heroes in the span of 24 hours. And he also lives with them. On top of that, he's going to UA too for a whole day. It's a lot for little Midoriya, who felt like everything and everyone was against him, and suddenly he found somewhere that he was comfortable. It was a weird feeling, but he was happy that he was here. He knows that if he would have stayed locked in there, he would probably give up. Are you ready, Midoriya? He looks and sees the 2 teachers ready to go. He nods and gets up carefully, placing his plushie down and grabbing his analysis notebook. Oh, Shota told me you have notes about me. Can I see it later? Yamada asks, excited, and Izuku nods, taking out the one where there was his analysis. They all exit the apartment, and Izuku follows them from behind. So Midoriya, be prepared. Shota's class only has 3 students. The loud blonde laughs, and Izuku looks confused. He expelled the rest of the group in less than a month. They weren't meant to be heroes. Their goals weren't worthy of wasting your time on. We already had that conversation, Shota grumbles in annoyance, making Izuku giggle. Him and Mike were polar opposites. They now were in the classroom of Class 2A. Yamada had to go to his own class since he was an English teacher here. Could you tell me a little about the students, just so I can start their pages? Izuku asks, and the teacher nods. taking out some files from his desk. So first off, we have Mirio Togura. He's an extrovert, never stops talking, and is way too optimistic. His quirk is premonition. I can never pronounce Mirio's quirk correctly, I swear. Premeditation, I don't think I'm ever gonna get so close to getting it right, or getting it right at all, so that's the best you're gonna get out of me from Mirio's quirk pronunciation. Anyways, I'm gonna continue now. It allows him to become intangible, letting him pass through any tangible matter. He's getting better control of his quirk, and he is also very determined. The rest will let you observe on your own. Midoriya writes down everything and lets 3 pages before writing the next student. Tamaki Amajiki. He's the polar opposite of Mirio. He doesn't trust himself and hates social interactions. He tends to take compliments and twist them in ways that it's some sort of taunting coming from the other. His quirk is manifest. It gives him the ability to manifest the physical characteristics of anything he's eaten, as long as it's still in his system. He can now use more than one manifestation at the time. He still has difficulty with how to control the size of his features and how to change them during combat. Finally, there's Nejiri Hado. I always think, I'm pretty sure I say her last name wrong, so yeah. Don't mind, or first name, either one. Don't mind that though. I suck with some of the names for them, so just don't say anything, okay? We aren't gonna question. No questioning. Not allowed to question anything. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I'm going back to reading now. She's kind of talks a lot, way too curious, and is very blunt, making her seem insensitive. But she's actually just curious. Her quirk is wave motion. It allows her to take her vitally and convert it into energy, allowing her to release powerful spiral shockwaves. He explains the last one, and Izuku looks up at him sadly. So that means she exhausts herself using her own quirk? He had tears in his eyes, and Aizawa internally panics at the boy's emotions. Don't worry, they look at the door to see a trio, and the girl was the one speaking. I'm working on my stamina, so I don't hurt myself too much. But thank you for your concern. She grins to the small boy, who blushes from embarrassment. They were all so big compared to him. They looked really cool, too, so he was scared they would make fun of him. He was still a quirkless kid. Don't worry, Midoriya. They're oddly nice. They won't give a shit about that. Aizawa tries reassuring him. Izuku blushes, realizing he must have been mumbling. Wow! Aizawa is reassuring someone? That's a new one. The purple-haired girl laughs, earning a death glare from their teacher. Well, in case you didn't guess, I'm Nejiri Hado. I'm Mirio Togura. The second one grins. The third one just hits his head against the wall, grumbling something inaudible. I'm guessing you're Tamaki Amajiki? Izuku smiles softly at the boy, who discreetly nods. I'm Izuku Midoriya. The Viridian boy bows politely. Now go get ready. Midoriya is going to observe your skills to get a better analysis of your strengths and weakness. With your strengths and weaknesses with your quirks, Aizawa explains, emotionless. Our very own analysis? The jury stars in her eyes. Yeah, that's what I'm going to try to do. Izuku stammers, anxious of what they might think of him. If they were going to think he was miserable. That's so cool! The two loud ones of the group yell in sync, which startled Izuku, but then made him slightly happy. Even Tamajiki looked up, finding interest in all this. We'll wait for you in the training ground. Aizawa shoos the three students, and he motions Izuku to follow him. They're loud, but they're nice in their own way. Are you okay? The teacher asked the smaller boy. They're nice, but are they going to treat me differently for being quirkless? Izuku asked, fidgeting with his fingers, and looking at the floor anxiously. Not worried about that. Though I can't promise the jury won't ask a bunch of questions. The teacher scoffs, making Izuku giggle. Then I can live with that. Izuku smiles, looking at his new guardian. Chapter 4. 4 months later. Izuku never came back, and Katsuki didn't know what to do. The missing person warning of Izuku was taken down. From what Mitsuki had told him, Izuku was found and had been put in a family. That's all they knew. Not the slightest clue on where Izuku went. Not even if he was still in Japan. He could simply continue going to school and focus on getting into UA. It hadn't even been a month. Izuku was already forgotten in the whole class. No one mentioned the boy, not even talk mean things like they always did. It's like he never existed. Katsuki hated everyone there. They all annoyed him to his core. He doesn't understand how he preferred getting their respect over the one of Izuku. Izuku was gone, and Katsuki wasn't totally at blame. But he knew that if the smaller boy was given hope, then he wouldn't have resolved to outrun away. He could be at the arm's reach. Katsuki could hold him and protect him. Tell him that he was sorry, that he'd never hurt him again, that he loved him. That's what Katsuki repeated, sinking himself deeper in his guilt. He loved Izuku. He realized too late, but he always had. But he pushed him away, to the point not only that he lost his chance, but to the point that he didn't even know if he'd see him again. If he had followed him home, asked him what was wrong that day, if he was able to get access, if he was able to get across that fence, he could have apologized. If he could go back to the day he pushed Izuku away for being quirkless, he'd hold him closer instead. He did nothing of the above. He put himself in this situation and brought Izuku along. Fuck. He couldn't help but yell, hitting his wall from frustration. He didn't realize tears were streaming down his face. Katsuki, enough! His mother came rushing in the room, worried for her son. She didn't think he'd be so affected by Izuku's disappearance at first. They knew he was safe after all, but Mitsuki knew why. You could say it's mother's instincts. If you two are really meant to be together, you'll see him again, Katsuki. Mitsuki says, touching her son's shoulder lightly. He won't talk to me. He must hate me. He sobs, still facing the wall. I have my doubts. You did bad stuff, Katsuki, but Izuku has a big heart. When you see him when you see him again, apologize. Do what you have to do to get him back. And for the love of God, let that fucking pride of yours aside, she says teasingly at the end, but she was also trying to pass a very direct message. Thanks, hag. Katsuki grumbles, which made his mother happy. She ruffles his hair in an affectionate way. But I swear to God, hurt him again and I will fucking end you. Am I clear? She threatens him and he scoffs, shaking his head. Come on, get cleaned up, dinner's almost ready, she says, leaving the room. The blonde teen sighs, going to his bed, taking the frame next to his bed. It was a picture of him and Izuku when they were 3. Katsuki was playing superheroes with Izuku. He was protecting Izuku from the bad guys. Izuku has been focusing on helping the big 3 improve ever since he arrived. He had gotten really close to the 3, and he was even getting better at hand-to-hand combat thanks to Aizawa. He was shown around the school, and he was able to help other classes to improve. There wasn't anyone who made comments on him being quirkless, which made him feel more at ease. He was now officially at Aizawa and Yamada's custody, and he hadn't heard of Bakugo ever since then, which made him sad, but he knew it was to be expected. Izuku had talked to his guardians about the bullying, but never talked about Bakugo precisely. He couldn't risk ruining the blonde's chances of becoming a hero. He was still stuck on a dream. They could become close again, but he couldn't continue hurting himself the way he had to. But he couldn't continue hurting himself that way. He had to let go. Today, Principal Nezu, along with other teachers, wanted to speak to Midoriya about his place in UA. He was guaranteed to get in with all he did so far. They were simply figuring out where he would be able to bloom the most. He nervously walked to the principal's office, where Aizawa, President Mike, Nezu, and All Might. Izuku had to rub his eyes and blink a couple of times to make sure he was seeing right. You can come in, Izuku. We'll explain it, no worries. Aizawa tries to reassure the completely startled boy who was meeting his idol. Who was meeting his lifelong idol. There we go, I have to fix that. Also, sorry for the voice crack up for Aizawa. There, so, sorry. I'm gonna keep reading. Right, he stutters, running to take a seat next to the dark-haired teacher. How are you today, Midoriya? Nezu asked the Viridian boy. I'm doing great. Tamajiki was finally able to manifest more than one feature at a time. He smiles excited for his friend's success. That's wonderful, Midoriya. Like you may know, today we were talking of your studies in UA. Is it still what you wish? Yes. He smiles at the mouse man who he got close to. And Nezu also helped him sharpen his analysis skills. Good. So you might be wondering why All Might is here. Nezu starts and the freckled teen agrees. He is going to be teaching heroics this year. Whoa, seriously? The greenette says, looking at the men who nodded with his iconic smile, but something seemed off. Izuku immediately noticed. Well then, let's get this started. Nezu claps his paws cheerfully. So we have General Studies, Support Department, and Hero Course. I like everyone's opinions here. Let's start with All Might. Nezu says, motioning him to speak up. I'm sorry, I may seem out of place, but how could someone quirkless become a hero? It's impossible. All Might points out, making everyone in the room furious except Izuku, who pretended his hand was a gun. He pretends that he shoots, making everyone in the room look at him confused. Puff. You just killed someone, Izuku says, with a small smile. All Might looked at him confused. First off, you don't have my backstory. You have what Nezu knows, or way less. From all you know, I may be unstable, and only hanging on to a small dream. Society already brings us down for not having a quirk. Having the #1 hero who said anyone can be a hero just told you it was impossible. Now I'm dead. I threw myself off the roof, Izuku explains, making him frown. That won't change anything to society, though. Now, what if I was emotionally unstable and decided to go down the opposite path? I want to become a villain, and I hurt people. Maybe no one will die, but even quirkless, I could hurt people. With weaker quirks, firearms exist. There are many ways people could brutally die. Now, All Might, try reformulating it, so the #1 hero doesn't destroy someone because of his personal beliefs. Izuku says innocently, but the tone sends shivers even to All Might himself. Right. You're right. I am sorry. I simply don't wish for you to get badly injured. All Might corrects himself, ashamed, and Izuku and Nezu clap together, while Yamada and Aizawa look at their son, proud and shocked. Thank you, All Might, for your opinion. Now, Aizawa, what do you think? Nezu asked cheerfully. All Might was looking lost in thought, only listening to half the conversation. I think we could build him a special program. You saw how he is when it comes to the combat. He was even able to put Mirio down after only a few months of training. His analysis are also very helpful to the students. He could be a great addition in the Hero Course, to not only build himself so he can achieve his goal, but also help others if he wishes, with his analysis. It would maybe make him take out a few classes, and it could be replaced by either individual combat training or detailing his notes. He could choose. Aizawa suggests, and Nezu nods in agreement. Well, I believe our little listener could fit in anywhere he goes, so I would give him a green card to choose. Though I must admit that Shoto's idea seems interesting. Nezu nods, agreeing, and finally he looked at Izuku, who was holding his chin, thinking carefully. I honestly like Aizawa's idea, though I would also like to have a few normal classes. I know you could take out English, for instance, Izuku explains. The loud blonde teacher looks at him, doing a falsely offended look. Don't worry, Papa Mike. I already speak English, and I could always continue to practice with you at home. That's why I don't think it's necessary. Izuku tries to reassure him, and he nods, wiping a tear that fell. Thank you, little listener. You're the best, he says, promising himself to hug the child later. This is definitely a good option, and we'd have to discuss it more, but I would personally opt to agreeing to this, the small mouse man says, with a smile, taking a sip of his tea. Now that this is settled, would you be okay with helping us evaluate on who would be a good addition to our school? It would mostly be observing. We'll take care of the rest, Nezu asked Izuku. Yeah, I'd be perfectly okay with that, the Raiden boy says, excited. Well, let's settle then. Little listener is our helper. Is our little helper. Mike says proudly, making Izuku smile. Go on then. I think you are going to help Nejiri next, correct? Nezu smiles at the boy, who nods. Okay, thank you. Izuku smiles, getting up and bowing at all the adults. Izuku got out the office, happy, and he was on his way to go work up stamina with Nejiri. Young Midoriya. Izuku jumps, turning to see All Might rush out. The desk rush out. Hi, All Might. Izuku smiles at the number 1 hero. I believe I was wrong. You might get hurt along the way, and you have to work twice as hard, but I believe you could become an excellent hero. All Might says to the boy, who is extremely happy at the moment. Thank you, All Might. It means a lot. Coming from you, Izuku says cheerfully. Well then, see you soon. Izuku then left to go help Nejiri, for real this time.